Let's take a look at equation practice with angles. All right, when we look at these, when we look at having two parallel lines cut by a transversal, so two parallel lines cut by a transversal create a set of equal or congruent angles. And first we must understand this before we look at the equation practice with it. So similar to just looking at vertical angles when you've got two lines crossing each other, we see that angles that are opposite each other or vertical to one another are congruent. And likewise, the other angle that is opposite each other or vertical is also they're also congruent. Okay. Now, when we've got two parallel lines cut by a transversal, the parallel lines are essentially the same line. They've got the same slope. They've got the same angle of ascent or descent. They're essentially the same line, and they're being cut by the same line as well, which means that any of those angles that were congruent in the first set are also congruent in the second set. So what we call these is corresponding angles. So the position where they're actually corresponding, you also find that they are congruent. So this angle here is congruent to this angle here is congruent to this angle, because they're corresponding angles. And if we look here at the other set, it's exactly the same situation as well. And they even look the same, okay? So that's the first thing that you must note, is that when you've got two parallel lines cut by a transversal, you have two sets of angles, and there are four congruent angles in each set. So that's the first thing to remember, okay? So if we actually look at this and apply it to the questions we have here, we see two parallel lines cut by a transversal. So first thing we know is that this angle B here is the same. It's congruent to this angle B here, right? So that's also angle B, right? And if we bring it across to here, okay, the corresponding angle is also congruent to angle B, right? And this corresponding angle here is also congruent to angle B, right? Okay. Likewise, we look at angle A, vertical right here. Okay, so this angle here is the same, and corresponding right over here, right? Corresponding, it's in the same relative set, relative area, so it's corresponding right there, and this one here is corresponding over here. Okay, so we've got two sets of congruent angles. Okay, A and B. Now here's the thing, right? We can see that A and B are different. Okay, they're not actually congruent to one another. Okay, but in any given set, we can see here that it doesn't matter which one we look at. Let's take a look at this one here, right? A and B make an angle that is a straight line. So we know that A and B together is 180 degrees. Okay, so that's the first thing that we can actually say about this. Angle A plus angle B is equal to 180 degrees. So let's put all that together here. So what that means is that this angle A, 5x plus 34, plus 2x plus 76 is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, so let's take a look at that all together, right? We've got 5x plus 34 plus 2x plus 76 is equal to 180 degrees. And from here, all we have to do is apply the algebraic method. Okay, so first of all, let's combine like terms. This 34 plus 76, that's going to give us 110. Okay, and 5x plus 2x is going to give us 7x. So that there together is 180 degrees. 180 degrees. Okay, so subtract 110 from both sides. Again, maintaining the balance of the equation is important. Subtract 110 from both sides, it will cancel from this side, and we will be left with 70 degrees on this side. Okay, and we have 7x equals 70 degrees. Dividing by 7 on both sides is going to give us x equals 10 degrees. Okay, right? So that only tells us that x is equal to 10 degrees. So we still have to plug it in to the angle that we're actually being asked to solve. We're being asked to solve the angle A, so let's plug this 10 degrees into the x right here on the first equation, okay? So we have, and I'll work it in blue, so we've got 5 times 10 plus 34 is the measurement of angle A, okay? Okay. So what that is 5 times 10 is 50 plus 34, which is equal to 84 degrees. So we know that our final answer is 84 degrees, okay? We'll take a look at 2 more just so that we can reinforce it. The whole idea here being is that this one here was where they added up to 180 degrees. If you get the angles being equal to one another, which we'll see in one of the other problems, then you set the equations equal to one another. So this is the one where we added the 2 equations together to be equal to 180 degrees because the angles were not actually equal to one another. Let's take a further look. Okay. So here is a situation where we see the corresponding angles, right? So A, if we look at A corresponds right down here to the equivalent angle down here, right down here to A, or A prime is what we should actually call it because it's because of geometry. It's the translation of the angle A. Okay, we translated it down here, and we see that A is a vertical angle to angle B. So what we can tell right off is that angle A is equal to angle B. So let's set all that up together. So we've got 8x minus 10 equals 3x plus 90. And let's apply the algebraic method again. We're going to keep the 8x because it's bigger. We're going to subtract 3x from both sides. Remember, so long as you do the same thing on both sides, you maintain the balance of the equation. That cancels it out from this side, and we got 5x minus 10 equals 90. And now we're going to add 10 to both sides. Right? That's to get rid of this 10. Right? Because we now have the x on one side, we want to get rid of everything that is alongside it. So that is going to give us 5x equals 100, and dividing by 5 on both sides is going to give us x equals 20. Right? Again, don't forget the final step. Take the 20, plug it in to your equation. Right? So we've got 3 times 20 plus 90 is going to be 60 plus 90, which is equal to 150. Okay? And that makes sense when we look at this. Okay? So we've seen both types. Let's take a look at one more real quick, right? And this one here, we see they're both equal again. They're both corresponding angles. So angle A is equal to angle B. So we have 6x plus 12 equals 3x plus 63. Okay, keep the bigger one. Get rid of that 3x. Subtract it from both sides because you have to. Whatever you do on one side, you must do on the other. Bring down the equal sign. Make sure you do that. It's a good idea to do it first. Right now we have 3x on this side because 6x minus 3x is 3x plus 12 equals 63. Now we want to get at the x, so we subtract 12 from both sides. That's going to give us 3x equals 51. And this one is a nice one. I know that's equal to. So we divide on both sides. 51 divided by 3 is 17. And we've got our 17. Plug it right into angle A is what we're being asked for. 6 times 17. So we've got 6 times 17 plus 12. So 6 times 17, that should be 102 plus 12. Because, well, 3 times 17 is 51 we found there. So 102 plus 12. Which is equal to 114 is what we should have, so long as I have done my arithmetic correct. Okay, hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions.